Hey guys, Thor here. It's This Week on Blu-ray, DVD, and on demand. We got some fun with Warren Beatty coming up. But first, Doctor Strange take a mystical journey with us as Marvel brings you their latest entry for home viewing. This continues the studio's winning streak as well as the 14th consecutive Marvel Cinematic Universe film to debut at #1 at the domestic box office. A lot of extras in this one, and front and center, Benedict Cumberbatch as Dr. Stephen Strange, a world-famous neurosurgeon whose life changes forever after a horrific car accident renders his hands useless. And when traditional medicine fails him, he travels to a remote mountain outpost looking for a cure, but instead discovers a bald Tilda Swinton who teaches him all about the mystical arts and enables him to become a powerful sorcerer battling dark forces bent on destroying our reality. As a science fiction lover, I really enjoyed that they went hard for this one in terms of the aspects of science fiction that sometimes aren't as accessible for blockbusters, but they had astral projection, parallel worlds, interdimensional travel. It was all in there, and they did a good job of making sense with it, so kudos to the writing team. Also, the visual effects are absolutely stunning. There's a great nod to 2001: A Space Odyssey, really memorable sequence in this one. So it was sort of like a mixture of what we love about the Marvel movies with a blend of Inception as well. And you got an exceptional cast. Cumberbatch is always good. Chiwetel Ejiofor, Rachel McAdams, Benedict Wong, Michael Stuhlbarg, and Benjamin Bratt. So you've got tons of bonus features as well. 5 behind-the-scenes featurettes, 5 deleted scenes, a great bit of outtakes, and part 2 of the comical mockumentary Team Thor. I always love those ones. Audio commentary and an exclusive look at the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Man, good things in store here for this character, and I can't wait to see him team up with all the rest of the gang. Get it now, Doctor Strange, just one to add to your collection on Blu-ray or DVD. Let's move right along. A lot of critical buzz about this one, Nocturnal Animals, and this comes to us from fashion designer / director Tom Ford, who also wrote the film. You remember his movie A Single Man with Colin Firth. This stars Amy Adams, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Aaron Taylor Johnson, who actually won a Golden Globe for his performance in this movie, and a scene-stealing Michael Shannon as well, who was nominated for an Oscar. Basically, it's a haunting romantic thriller about a woman played by Amy Adams living an unfulfilling marriage, and she receives a package containing a novel manuscript from her ex-husband, played by Gyllenhaal. Now, the novel is dedicated to her, but its content is very violent and devastating. So there's 2 stories at play here. It's the present-day situation of her with her marriage, reading this manuscript, and then the actual story inside the novel, which is basically what Gyllenhaal and this whole highway scene sort of plays out with his family, and they get apprehended by some savages, and Aaron Taylor Johnson figures prominently in those scenes as well. So this movie to me felt a little bit hollow overall, and it didn't really add a lot to the genre in terms of films that we've already seen of this ilk, but it was gorgeous. I mean, Tom Ford brings so much style, and he's such a commanding presence behind the camera. You could tell the actors were all really kind of giving it their own. So some fine acting here. It looks great. Left me feeling a little bit unsatisfied overall, though, but you know what? It's still worth the watch because it is a pretty gritty film. Let's move along now. Robert Zemeckis is back in Allied, a World War II spy thriller with a little bit of seduction thrown in there. And this stars front and center Brad Pitt and Marianne Cotillard. They are 2 of the world's deadliest spies. They fall in love while undercover on a top-secret mission, married during World War II, but he learns that she may be secretly conspiring with the enemy, and he's got 72 hours to prove her innocence and save his family before he must do the unthinkable. You've also got great support here from Lizzie Kaplan, Jared Harris, and Matthew Good. The movie needed some work in the writing department. It was a little bit lacking in polish, and that kind of made some of the acting seem a little bit, for lack of a better term, cheesy. However, the costumes were gorgeous, and I loved some of the sequences when it came to the action, so it was well staged there. And to be honest, Cotillard and Pitt did share some chemistry, although Pitt came across as being quite wooden in a lot of this, but she seems to fare a little bit better. But you got a great ensemble cast here, and it's one of those nice kind of throwback movies, and I like that Zemeckis still brings that style and that panache as a director. Loaded with bonus features as well, including the story of Allied, lights, pixels, action, the visual effects, and also featurettes that look at the vehicles, the weapons, and the music. So it's got some great features on it as well, and it's a gorgeous looking piece, but it did have its flaws. as I mentioned. Let's move right along, and we will continue. Yeah, Warren Beatty, he's fresh from his Oscar gaffe, and he's directing and starring in Rules Don't Apply. And this also has Lily Collins and Alden Ehrenreich, who right now is busy shooting the Han Solo prequel standalone movie. But this is set in the bygone age of 50s Hollywood, an unconventional love story about an aspiring young actress, played by Collins, and her young, ambitious, deeply religious chauffeur, I should say, played by Ehrenreich. Now, they're kind of struggling with the eccentricities of their wildly unpredictable billionaire employer, who just happens to be Howard Hughes. And that is where Warren Beatty comes in. You've also got, as you can see there, Annette Bening, Matthew Broderick, Alec Baldwin, Candice Bergen, Ed Harris, Oliver Platt, and Martin Sheen. Now, the Blu-ray and DVD include a look at the making of Beatty's passion project, including interviews with Bening, Broderick, and the rest of the cast, and also talking about the accomplished director, along with a music video of the film's main song. This one had its issues as well, but it was nice to see Warren behind the camera, and he can still act with the best of them, and a bright future, of course, in store for Lily Collins and Alden Ehrenreich. They're great. Again, though, this movie was a little bit cliched and kind of struggled with its tone in some sections, but some fine acting and a kind of an interesting little story. I do enjoy those 50s throwback pieces that examine Hollywood in the golden age. And we will move along and leave you with Shut In. Not a great horror flick, but a commanding performance from Naomi Watts, who I always enjoyed. Jacob Tremblay's in this one as well, and Oliver Platt. Basically, she plays a child psychologist living an isolated life in rural New England and struggling to kind of put her life back together after the loss of her husband. And her courage is put to the test when she's caught in a deadly storm, trapped in her home, and cut off from the world around there. There's some other twists as well that you're seeing here, and she's kind of plagued by these nightmarish visions. Watts does a great job, actually. She's quite commanding, as I mentioned, and carries the film. It does have its flaws, though. It was pretty shoddy in the writing department, and it was a basically kind of forgettable horror thriller, but it did have some potential. But she does her best trying to carry the film. But this one, I think, is a bit of a pass for me. So we can't win them all, but there you go. Take your pick, people. That'll do for this week on Blu-ray, DVD, and on demand. There's little Jacob Tremblay. We love him. He's growing up so fast. You can catch me on Twitter at Thor Dykow or Instagram. Let me know what you thought of these titles. Keep in touch, whatever you want. And we'll see you next week on BreakfastTelevision.ca.